right, so without further ado, let's just kick off today's session because we do have a lot of information to convey in this 1 hour session. So welcome. So this is the how to listen effectively and be a listening leader webinar, and I am going to lead through this session. And my name is Ming Wei, if you haven't met me before, and I'm working as enterprise agile coach as well as a professional coach for Leadership Tribe. Okay, so about our game plan today, what are we going to do? So within this an hour, we will have a quick greeting and trying to introduce ourselves a little bit, and we'll be moving on to listening, and we'll be discussing a little bit about listening in terms of what are the interesting facts which some of us might not be aware, and what does listening really mean. Okay, and then we're going to dive into listening skills. We're going to talk about listening skills from two different aspects. One is on the verbal perspective, the other one is on the non-verbal perspective. So we are going to discuss a little bit on the core skills for listening leaders as well, further to that. And then after we finish the listening skills, and we're going to moving on to the steps in terms of what are the steps I can take for me to become a listening leader. And then we can talk about the potential of the development paths. And if you have any questions, I will be there to address them. Okay, so this is our game plan in a nutshell. So moving on, just a very quick introduction. So Leadership Tribe. So who is Leadership Tribe? So we are actually a member organization for IC Agile, okay, which means we provide fully accredited Agile trainings. We also provide consulting and coaching services in Agile transformation as well. And we work with individuals like leaders and teams and organizations to actually help them to design and implement changes, okay? So to help them to implement Agile ways of working and to help them to develop and sustain the changes and to help them to anchor like that effective ways of working. All right, so we as practitioners and we as coaches, we are actually very proud of being a tribe of people who are like-minded, and we are very keen to improve in the craft in what we do. So we practice, in our training sessions. So I'm a trainer as well. So I train in Agile courses, and I also deliver, webinars, so that I can help myself to practice, and yet I can, help people to kind of learn a little bit, from us in terms of what we're trying to preach. And we this webinar is actually one of the effort, okay, for us to share some of our knowledge with like-minded people. And we do have some alumni members which I have recognized, from the attendees list. So welcome all. And if you're new, even better. And we would love to meet new friends here as well. So this is a great opportunity for us to meet up and also, to know new people and share our knowledge and passion. All right, so my colleague has been very proactive by sharing my profile already. Thank you, Titra. So if you would like to connect, by all means, okay, so this is my LinkedIn profile, and I've got the company profile there as well, and do follow us because you don't need to, sorry, so you won't actually miss any other opportunity, for being part of our journey. Okay, and also if you do have any inquiries, by all means, contact us at hello@leadershiptribe.com. All right, so that's basically a dump of information about who we are, what we do, and what we are passionate about. Okay, I hope that's okay with everyone. Okay, so I think I've been very effective. So let's kick off in terms of what we're going to discuss about listening. Okay, so there are some researches being done about listening, and there are some data being provided in terms of from the researchers. There are some data, some information being generated. So I have got a little, I wouldn't say quiz, okay, just for information, because some of the data are really shocking to me. So I would like to see, from your perspective, how you understand or how you perceive some of the information. So let's start this one by one. So the first one, asking the question of what percentage, do you think that from our learnings are actually acquired via listening? So from all the information we observed, what is the percentage of information do you think is actually, acquired from listening? So can you just use that chat window, just quickly, just throw a number in there. As I've said, okay, this is a guesstimate, no right or wrong, okay? So by all means, let's have some fun together. So I've already got some, okay, I've got some update already. So 15%, okay, 15%, 20%, 35%, It seems there's a trend, isn't it? It's increasing, 45, 45. Okay, any higher than that? No, it goes down 30. All right, that's no problem at all. 5%. All right, okay. Let's have a look together, okay? In all the information which we acquire, in our learning process, what is the percentage? You will be amazed. Actually, research show that a large percentage, 85, what we learned is actually via listening. Okay, 85%. Now let's quickly move on to the next one. What percentage of the time when we are listening, we are actually distracted, we're not even focusing. Okay, there'll be something preoccupying, or we might just not even being in there at all. So what is the percentage of time do you think we are not even listening when someone is talking to us? Okay, some guesses, please. Okay, someone said 50, 25, 20, 10, 30. Okay, so that's a variety of guesses there. Okay, someone is getting very close. Katja, congratulations. Okay, if it's a lottery, I think you at least won a second prize. So research says 75% of the time we are distracted. So if you look at it, when someone is talking to you or when you're listening, highly likely that you are distracted at the moment when you're listening. Okay, just bear that in mind. Highly likely someone, when they're listening, is distracted at the time. Next one, we can immediately recall what percentage of the information was being said. So for example, if I'm telling you something and immediately, how much do you think you'll be able to recall? 100%. Woo, that's a lot of confidence in that. 50. Wow, Sanya, well done, well done. Okay, so according to researchers, okay, I've got a lot of 50. Well done. Okay, thank you very much. According to researchers, we can immediately recall only 50% about what is being said. Okay, someone has been very genius here, 100%. And if you can really do that, that's a thumb up from me. But personally, I have got experience that someone spoke to me about something, and then the next second I was trying to write something down and I forgot it already. Okay, it happened to me personally, although I do blame on my age. So that's a different story. So moving on to the next one. We remember less than what percentage of what we heard after an hour. So immediately we recall 50%. After an hour, what is the percentage you think we can recall? Okay, 10%, 30, okay, 15, okay, very close, 25, okay. Actually, it's between that, okay, so it's about 20%. So the percentage actually dropped. So immediately 50%, after an hour, only 20%. Okay, only 20% we can actually recall. Right, let's go on the last one then. What is the percentage of the professionals do you think have actually received formal education or formal training about how to listen? 0% for sure. Okay, 5% less than that, 5, 10, 2. Well done. Okay, someone has got 2 great answers. Okay, thank you. I don't know if you know the answer already, or if it's someone has got this Google skill with them. But anyway, well done if you guesstimated. So it's actually 2%. Only less than 2% of professionals have received formal training. Okay, given all this data, okay, what does that tell us? Okay, I want you to have your own thoughts. And I think we all have got some ideas being formulating in terms of listening. How effective are we actually listening? Okay, this is something we want to discuss today and how we can actually improve that. So when we talk about listening, I think if you have got a couple, if you have got a spouse like husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, for me, I think that some of the most complaint I have received from my female friends is this guy just never listens to me. Okay, he never listens. And I have got a funny video here and it's only 2 minutes. Let's take some time, okay, just very quickly go through them and we will summarize in terms of what are your key takeaways from this video and how do you understand listening? Okay, so let's do that.
It's just, there's all this pressure, and sometimes it feels like it's right up on me. And I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head, and it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there.
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing.
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
See, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See, you're
out.
not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just, sometimes it's like, there's this achy, I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
That sounds really hard.
It is. Thank you. Ow!
Oh, come on. If you would just
Don't.
Try to see things my way.
Okay, so how is everyone thinking right now? Does that sound something familiar? Or you had some sort of similar argument with your partner, maybe? Okay, someone was laughing. Great. Okay, someone was saying men are natural problem solvers. Okay, that's generalization. Okay, I think I can agree probably 80% of that statement. Okay, two different mindset. Ooh, Ram, very good point. Anyone else? Any observations? Very good. Okay, I'll take that. Anything else? Okay, I'll just give it a second, and I think some people are still typing. So let's see if we have any more. The nail taking away all the attention than the conversation. Okay, Ravi, thank you very much. Okay, so I have a question for you. Okay, so when we're listening, are you listening to understand, or are you listening to be understood? Okay, thank you for the observation. Thank you. Okay, so apparently we have got, someone said different mindset. Someone said, that the guy is right, remove the nail, resolve the problem. I agree with you, Austin. But if we flip the coin from the lady's perspective, is it really about the nail though? This is the question I would like to ask you to remember, is according to who? Okay, according to who, the nail is the problem. According to the men, yes, the nail is the problem. You remove the nail, your problem is solved. According to the lady, is the nail the problem? And the answer is probably not. Okay, what the lady wants is for someone to listen. It's not about the nail. And this is where we bring different perspectives when we're listening. Are you listening to understand, or are you listening to be understood? This is the question. Okay, this is the question we're trying to resolve. Okay, so let's have a look on what I've got next. So in terms of summarizing listening, and there are people, talking about different definitions in terms of what they think, according to them, are listening. Okay, so what is according to me then? Let me just share you this particular screen. So this is the concept which we have borrowed from the Coaching for Performance book. And this is a book by Sir John Whitmore. And this is the coaching book which we regard as the Bible of coaching. And if you are new to coaching, I would recommend you to actually get this book and have read through, because it's very simple to understand. And yet, you put all the essential messages across. So in this book, Sir John Whitmore has explained listening with a definition of a Chinese character. Yeah. So what you're looking at right now to the left-hand side of the screen is a traditional Chinese letter, listen. Okay. So as you can see here, we have actually, putting like slight a different part of letter here into this list. If you look at this part, yeah, this actually simplify for the ear is what you use to listen. Underneath, you have got the word for the king. Okay, so you listen and you pay attention as if the other person were king. as if the other person is the only person who matters in this world. And this is where you don't listen to yourself, you don't distract, or you don't get some other thinking in terms of, oh, what I'm going to eat for dinner tonight, when this meeting is going to end, or there's something else, right? There's millions of different ideas you can have. So no, okay, you abandon all that thoughts or ideas which you are thinking, like an inner person talking to you. You're trying to focus on the person who's talking. And here on this right top, we have got this 10 eyes. So you are being very observant, as if you have 10 eyes. So you're trying to understand the person, you're trying to understand the body language, the emotion, the breathing, the, sometimes like the facial expression. So you're trying to see, trying to complete the whole picture of the aura, what information the person is trying to put across. And on this part, one, heart, okay? So one means you listen with the individual attention, and heart means you listen with your heart. Someone has mentioned empathy, absolutely. Okay, so this is where you are focusing on the person and you listen with full attention and full empathy. Okay, so this will give us an idea of listening. And one thing I would like you to understand is listening is different from hearing. Okay, hearing and listening are different. And the reason why we have explained it, with the Chinese letter listen. Okay, and this is something which is very important for us to carry on to the following sessions. Listen does not equal to hear. Two different ideas. So now we get a brief idea of what listening actually means, what it actually entails. And let's talk about the different skills. So what are some of the listening skills which you're referring to then? And for you to be an effective leader, okay, there is a need to develop a two-way communication between you and your teams. Okay, and for you to master this active or global listening, you're trying to take in every information the person is trying to convey, and these will actually help you to build connection, to connect with the other person deeply, and for you to actually build better relation and healthy relationship with the person who you're working with. And this will also help you as a person to maximize your leadership, okay, help you to be more effective and as a leader. And there are two main listening skills I would like to discover with you today. Okay, one is called verbal, the other one is called non-verbal. Okay, so let's start with the verbal ones. So I have got some post notes here. Have a quick go through. Okay, I think some of them would make sense immediately anyways. I've got paraphrasing, clarifying, reflecting, explaining, encouraging, linking, summarizing, open-ended questions, and active silence. So let's have a quick go through of what these concepts means. Okay, so starting with the first one, paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is nothing but you're trying to replay the message to the person using the same words they have used or similar words. Okay, so literally you are saying that, okay, so you are saying what you're saying is, and you're trying to change the words or using some similar or same words and to replay the message to them. Next one is clarifying. So after you hear some information, you collate all information and you're trying to interpret it yourself. Once you interpreted it and you were trying to get some clarification from another person by asking, so if I understand you correctly, what you mean is, and if I have get your information right, and this is what you just said, so you're trying to get some clarification. Reflecting is more on the emotion journey. Okay, so you actually trying to capture the feelings the other person is displaying. And for example, it looks like, you have had a great time in the party, if they're really engaging, really excited. So you're trying to reflect on what the person's feelings are. Explaining. So when you're trying to offer, when something is not quite clear, you're trying to offer like interpretation in terms of information or on the particular event which the person has mentioned. And you can say that, it might be the fact that, or, could it be the case that, so you're trying to explain, you provide some sort of explanation in that. Encouraging. So by encouraging people, we can actually give them some verbal cues. Some people would use sub-speech like, yeah, okay, and they would give him these cues, and the people actually felt like they've been understood and they will be encouraged to talk more. And sometimes you can even just, by giving them recognition of thank you, that's a great point, anything else would you like to talk about? So you encourage them to engage and talk more. Next one is linking. So this is where you use the language patterns like and, then, what else? So you're trying to link them, okay, from something which we're talking about to something else. And again, this is part of the encouraging journey as well. So you're trying to get them engaged, talk a bit more. All right, next one, Summarizing. Sometimes when we're so engaged in conversation, there will be a number of things which has been coming up in the conversation. So trying to bring this conversation, like converge everything which you have heard by asking, so, okay, so I think we have talked about 5 points in this conversation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or, you can even like adding the fact of clarifying. So if I get you correctly, what I heard is you talk about 3 different things, 1, 2, 3. So this is where you can bring everything to a nice summarize to provide that clarity in that sense. Okay. Open-ended questions. So questioning is a great skill. Okay. If you want to be an effective leader, if you want to be a great listening leader, listening, questioning, observations, these are the key tools you need to have. So by using open-ended questions, and again, you're trying to engage people, instead of asking, saying that, is this all right with you? People will say yes, no, and that's it. They'll probably stop there. You can ask, saying, okay, what else we can include in here, or what more, like we can do differently, or what we can do differently. Questions like that will engage people, and when they felt they're being engaged, their opinion being respected, they will be eager to tell you more. Okay, they'll be eager to tell you like their opinions, their ideas, what they think would work. So trying to use open-ended questions to engage people, to bring them in the conversation, and that's a great tool. Do go away and practice it. Active silence. Okay, this is actually very interesting because silence is awkward. Okay, imagine yourself in a meeting room. All of a sudden, there's no people talking and everything just went to silent. How you would feel? Like, what is going to happen next? So it's awkward. However, trying to use that tactically. What I mean by saying that is trying to hold that silence, because people will feel uncomfortable and they will trying to dive in and provide more information. So this is actually a technique being widely used in facilitating, in coaching. Use the silence to your advantage, okay? And then try to use that to invite other people to chip in as well. Okay, so that's under the verbal part. And now let's move on to the non-verbal part. So here I've listed a few things here in terms of facial expression, body language, eye contact, personal space, timing, and empathy. Okay, facial expression. So when we are talking, and sometimes you might be fell short of how you look like when you're talking to people. And I have got a colleague, and when I talk to him, he always frowns like this. And he got me curious because I don't know if it's because the stuff I said to him doesn't make sense, or is the fact that something else, which upset him, because he always looked upset. And once I actually asked him the question, say, Daniel, I'm not sure if you realized, saying that this is what I've observed, when I'm talking to you, you always frown. Is it something which I said doesn't make sense, or, what is it? And then he said, I'm really sorry. I don't even know my face, how I look like when I'm talking to other people. And after I made this observation, I realized he has got a change of behavior. And the next time, and we were catching up, and he was talking to me saying, Ming, you know what? Last time you mentioned this to me, you know what? This is a new realization for me. I never noticed this is my face when I'm talking to people. This is my thinking face. But now I'm I'm changing this thinking face to this smiling face, which would, actually encourage people to talk more. And I was like, that's great. Okay, so trying to be aware of how you look like when you talk to people. If you are not aware, trying to look at yourself in the mirror, okay, and try to see how you look like when you smile and when you frown, or when you're having a deep thinking phase, and then trying to change and trying to adapt, and then see that what is it would help you to engage other people in the conversation. All right. So next one, body language. So I think this is, if any of you are interested, there's a lot of content on that online. So basically, when you are trying to engage someone in a conversation, sometimes your body language will actually help them, help them to engage by leaning towards them. Okay, when you are sitting in a meeting room, if you're leaning towards them, which means you are interested in what they're saying. And sometimes when you're talking to people, be wary, saying that you are, getting close to them, but not too close. That would be actually feeling intimidating. Okay, so make sure that that's a balance act. Don't say that I'm going very close to you, this is how I'm talking to you. Don't, okay, you'll be scaring people. So what you do is have the balance of act, and then trying to show interest and where your body says the same. Okay, as your language, saying that I'm really interested, tell me more. Okay, have a smile and then try to engage people from there. And On the other side, okay, be wary, because sometimes body languages are very honest. If I'm not interested in the conversation, for example, if I'm standing, my feet will be pointed at a different direction. So I might be talking to you like this, which means I want to run away from here. I don't want to stay here at all. So trying to get some information online and see, what are the body languages which are welcome in communication. And I'm not going to derail here because there's a lot of content in there. Next one, eye contact. Again, same thing. Keep eye contact so that you actually trying to show that you are interested in engagement and you are actually not sending the wrong message by staring at them. Okay, again, the balance act, I cannot emphasize on the importance of it. Keep regular eye contact of engagement, but do not stare at the people. Okay, it'll make them freak out. Personal space. I read something in body language saying that when you're talking to people, you should keep them at distance. When you reach out your arm, and they should reach their shoulder. Okay, estimate in terms of how far away you should be keeping them in terms of the social distance and where you do not invade their space and you keep your own distance and make people comfortable. However, it does depend on a lot of things like how close you are with each other, how familiarized you are, how long you've been working together, so on and so forth. So you have to adjust accordingly. Timing. When other people are talking, okay, and if you have got a point to make, please make sure that you don't put your point across in a way which is disrupting. And people will withdraw, okay, if you're trying to overtalk them. Trying to find a gap or somewhere and saying, okay, do you mind if I just add something here, or do you mind if I ask a question here? And then you can put your point or your observations in a very polite way. Okay, or you can just say, sorry to interrupt here, would you mind if we blah, 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 and put your suggestion, questions, observations in the form of a question. And it's always easier rather than you do it, or can we do it? Okay, there's always a way to polish, that particular way of how you put the message across. Empathy. So we talk about this many times. Okay, so this is where we need to make sure that we, how we listen, and it's a practice of being attentive and responsive. So it has to be suitable for that particular environment. Yeah, so we show empathy where we are trying to, connect and trying to work with that person. So that's a baptism of fire in terms of listening skills. Okay, as I've said, this session is not about me, it is about you. So I would like to invite you to take a pause here, right? And let's reflect on what you have heard so far on listening skills. What are your key takeaways? Okay, what are your key takeaways? It can be reflection, it can be action. So we talk about all these skills. Write something down for yourself. Yeah, write something down for yourself. And then if you feel like to share, please put them in the chat window so that I can get the message as well in terms of, how well this message has been delivered. So I will give you a minute for that. Okay, let's do that for a minute. Okay, if you do feel like to share with the team, by all means, it's welcome to all. Please pop your answers in that. Learn how to keep quiet and hold my tongue. Thank you, Austin. All right, I'm not sure if you have heard the joke. Okay, there was a joke saying that if you are speaking to, if you are responding to your subordinates, count 10. If you are replying to your peers, count 20. If you are responding to your boss, count 30. And if you are responding to your better half, you keep on counting. Okay? All right, active silence. Okay, great stuff. Thank you, Hazel. Importance of reflecting, summarizing, paraphrasing back what we heard to make sure message sent is message received. Beautiful. Thank you, Sanya. Okay, give importance to listening than speaking first. Ooh, very nice. Now we are getting deeper and deeper. Great stuff. Okay, So let's do a reflection together, okay? So basically, one thing I would like to advise is be curious. So be curious about people. What make people act or react in certain way? What are their motivators? What would actually make them, be passionate about what they do? And what is it that you can do as a leader to help them? Okay, what is it you can do as a leader to empower them? These are the questions. Only when you've been curious, you will be able to find out answers. Okay, and this will not only help your team members, but it will also help you to develop your competencies as a leader. Okay, ultimately, please remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So listen more, talk less. Okay, and as I've said in the joke, especially for men in this room, okay, please take my advice. And then when you communicate with your better half, you know what to do. Okay, you got the message. All right. Another thing is, we have talked about a number of skills, listening skills, okay? It's always easier said than done. When I start my coaching journey, okay, I find it very hard to just listen to people and without providing my opinion, because I can help. I'm eager to tell them, saying that what I would do and what I can do, like for what my solutions will be for them. However, that's not what they need. Okay, they need it from themselves, and it took me a while to actually adjust, saying that I need to do this, less this. Okay, and for everyone, it will be the same, because we are natural problem solvers. Not only men, human beings, we are all natural problem solvers. When we see a problem, what we do? We dive into it, and we're trying to provide solution for it. However, trying to take a step back, okay, trying to use this, less than this, okay, as we have explained in the listening character, when we explain what listening really is. And also bear in mind, listening is a journey, okay? Become a listening leader is a journey. So we'll be exploring a little bit more on that. All right, so we talked a little bit about listening and listening skills, verbal, non-verbal. Now let's have a look in terms of like what listening leadership means and what core skills do we need to become the listening leaders. So let me just share my screen again. Okay. So there's a book, okay, called The Listening Leader. And this is a book by Emilio Zugaro and Clementina Zugano, okay? So these are the book which has actually described 4 core skills for listening leaders. So when it's talking about leaders, it's actually giving the 4 different skills in terms of what is needed. So let's look at this from the very top on information. So information is regarding getting your meaningful message across. Okay, when we said meaningful message here, it actually reminds me of an example, which I think is perfect for this purpose of explanation. So when I was working in the corporate banks, okay, there was a big program which I was on, and for the big program, it's heavily relying on IT. So it's called IT change, business change, and IT is a big part of it in terms of what we're trying to automate. And for one of the very big release, it has done. Okay, a lot of things has been achieved in that release. And the next day after release went live, and the next day we have got an email, everything's been checked in, everything's good. And we have got an update from the IT program manager saying that, okay, this is what we have achieved. And when I opened that email, okay, and I look at the email, I was thinking in my heart saying that, who would actually read this email? Because it's like chunks, like big paragraph of information. And also, if you go through the paragraph, it's like jargons, technical words. I work on IT programs, but those things doesn't make sense to me, okay? And I opened it, I was like, okay, and I closed it. So that email is literally kind of like waste my time because it doesn't make any sense to me. And funny enough, okay, like about like an hour, 2 hours later, there was a reply, a response, copied everyone in from the portfolio manager. So the portfolio manager has actually replied in big fonts and asking, can you translate this into English, please? Basically, they don't understand it either, okay? One message, one big front letter saying that, can you translate this into English? Because people don't understand. If you are providing information people don't understand, the meaningless of information is lost. Someone in the chat window has rightly said, it has to be meaningful information. If it doesn't make sense, why even bother sending it? Okay, so your messages have to be precise. It has to be straightforward, and you need to consider your audience. Right now, okay, I believe some of us are working across international teams. Yeah, so you have team members from non-English native speaking countries. And even I am not from a native English speaking countries. I'm from China. So sometimes when I see this word, I don't understand. I have to Google it. What does it mean? I have to find a dictionary to find out it. So what I'm trying to say here is trying to make it straightforward, easy to understand, so that you help people, you help your audience to understand it, and you're preempting anything which could go wrong. Okay, so that's the information bit. Moving on to the communication. So it's quite funny because I think for leaders, sometimes they got confused of what communication meant. What do I mean by that? I have got a leader, okay, who said, I have communicated the marketing strategy for the next quarter. According to me, that's not communicate, okay? According to me, he has cascaded. He has provided, he has issued a marketing strategy, not communicated. Why? Because communication is both ways. It's not like I am telling you, I send a deck to you, so I have communicated with you. No, communication is always two ways, okay? A communication would be, I have sent this strategy to you. Did you have a look? Did you manage to, feedback to me in terms of what are your views on this? Did you feedback to me in terms of what makes sense? What doesn't seem realistic? Did you actually provide me this feedback? If you have provided me the feedback and I have, reviewed accordingly and then trying to implement some of the changes, and I would say, okay, this is some sort of communication ongoing. But if I'm issuing something to you, that's not called communication. Let's be very clear about that. So please make sure that communication is a two-way conversation. Okay, it's about giving data, receiving data among people. It's not one-way direction. Let's be very clear about that. So trying to take the perspective from that end in terms of, are you able to take people's opinions, feedbacks, and are you able to adjust accordingly? All right, moving on, enabling people. So enabling people is about, you're trying to educate people in terms of what is the purpose, what are they doing, why do they exist, what are their team doing, how does this align with the organization strategy, how does it align with the vision of the team, of the organization. And if you can map objectives of individuals to the team, to the organization, you will have the most effective team. Okay, because people know why they exist. People know saying that, okay, this is what I'm doing here. This is the reason of my existence. And they don't need any instruction from you. And they will be walking on the path, like the highway, to achieve where, the vision of organizations are. I have got the feedback from a colleague of mine complaining about his boss. He said to me in exact words, saying that I hate working with her. I hate working for her. And I asked what happened. And he said, can you imagine, we have a meeting in the morning. She tells me, okay, this is what I expect you to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And task 1, this is what you do. This is what I need to see. This is blah, 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 blah. And after you do task 1, task 2, this is what I need. Task 2, blah, 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 blah. And every day he used to complain to me saying, I think I'm going to resign tomorrow. I think I'm going to resign tomorrow. He could not deal with someone who is micromanaging him. Okay, for people who are mature, for people who know what they're doing, all you need is give them a purpose and they will fly. Okay, just watch them fly. However, you have to get the right person though. You can't say that, someone is not even there and who is not even interested or who does not know what he's doing and watch him fly. No, probably he will not fly, probably do the other ways. But if people have that level of maturity, they know what they're doing, give them a purpose, and then they will be enabled and they will be to deliver magic. Okay. Now, moving on, empowering people to manage change. So this is where we're using different skills like coaching, like mentoring. So for your information, okay, coaching is where, like the coaches, they will be partnering with their coachees and then, in this thought-provoking and creative process. So they will be helping these coachees to achieve their potential, okay, personally, professionally. Mentoring on the other side, it's similar to coaching in the sense that, it was like, helping the person to progress in their personal and professional paths, and it's different in the sense that coaching does not provide you any solution. It will using different techniques to help you to use the resources which you have to achieve something great. Mentors, they are normally the SMEs in a particular field, okay, so they can actually provide their experiences, their opinions and their thoughts to help the coachee to actually pick, saying, okay, what is it that the mentee want to take, and what is the action, the path the mentee would like to take ahead, and they are there to support them. So coaching, mentoring, those are the key skills which, as agile coach, as a leader, it's absolutely essential. Okay, we do talk a little bit more about this in our ACC course, Agile Coaching course. So if this is something which you're interested in, you can join us and we can explore a bit more on that. So these are the 4 different skills which, according to the Zugaros, it's very important for the listening leaders. And from that end, okay, I would like you to have a think about it in terms of what we have discussed, right? We talk about the 4 different skills for listening leaders. What is it that the one action which you would need to take? Just pick one, okay? Out of all the actions for you to become a listening leader, what is it that you need to do next? Just have a think about it. I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, so we know that what are the core skills for the listening leaders, and how are we going to achieve it? How are we going to develop ourselves to become those listening leaders? And let's have a look. Okay, so this is what is provided by the Zugaros as well in terms of the steps which we can take to become a listening leader. So let's just quickly walk through them. So the first step is looking for your triggering event. Okay, so the triggering event is nothing but the moment when you realize saying, okay, I need to make some changes. Okay, this is the new leadership style for me that I want to become a listening leader. This is when you have this new realization of a change which is needed. Okay, so this webinar can be a triggering event. Okay, all you need to do is trying to remember whatever that triggering event for you. It can be a feedback, it can be a webinar like this, and you need to remember this point is the starting of your journey. And when you have got challenges, make sure that you always return to this point, saying that, okay, this is where I decided I need to make this change, and use that as a motivator, okay, or as a reminder in terms of why I did make that decision to make a change. If you want to take a picture of me and then put it, like on your desktop or something like that as a reminder, I don't have any issue. Okay, you'll be a little bit creepy, but I'm okay with that. All right, so looking for a triggering event and always remind yourself in terms of why you want to make the change in the first place. Once we have got that, our next step is called increase your self-awareness. So in terms of self-awareness, this is about our understanding of ourselves. Our understanding of why we do what we do. Okay, what is it is our strengths, what is it is our weaknesses, what is it is our motivation, what would actually make us tick. So as individuals, we are all different, and this is where you're going to examine and then define your preferred ways of communicating in terms of, okay, this is what I am doing well, this is what I need to improve, and be aware of that. Yeah, be aware of that so that you can actually make an active change by being aware. You don't know what you don't know, but once you have developed that awareness, you have got choice to make a change. And this is where it is important for self-awareness, because that's a starting point of everything. Okay, that's a starting point of everything. So once you have increased your self-awareness, saying, okay, I know there's something which I would like to do more, something I would like to improve in the future, you need to become aware of your context. Okay, so this is where you are trying to actively shape the change which you want to undergo, the change which you want to implement in the, like in the future. And this is where you need to understand your environment, your working environment, and what is the climate and what is the environment of your team, of your organization, and then trying to define, okay, what is it that I can do right now? What is it that I would like to balance, in terms of the changes I want to make, and yet I'm stable. You're trying to, like any organization, individuals, you're trying to make any changes, you cannot do change and everyone on change. You have to change and BAU. So you balance it. And as individuals, we need to do the same thing, okay? Balance in terms of what is that I can do, slowly implementing the changes, and where at the same time, I maintain the same level of performance, like nothing is influencing like what I'm doing right now. And further step, do your EMMA work. So EMMA, I have actually listed out here in terms of empathy, motivation, mentality, and analyze. So what we mean to say here is that before you are going to talk to your audience or stakeholders and trying to evaluate your stakeholders, the members, in terms of their EMMA, okay? Empathy, motivation, mentality, and then trying to then analyze, saying, okay, what is their point of view? So it depends on that, and then you can actually trying to fine tune what your styles or communication skills and trying to adapt accordingly. Further to that, you develop your action plan. So this is your strategy and how you going to implement your personal change. So you can have like action plan, you can draw something down and just make sure that this actually aligns with the company priorities. So it's always to have that balance in terms of what I want to do as an individual and what is my company designs or what my company's priorities are, and merge these two together, and then your plan would work at the best or at the ultimate efficiency and effectiveness. And the next one is regarding the stakeholder grid. Okay, so this is about understanding your stakeholders, understand their expectations, and how their ambition or their vision is actually aligned with yours. Okay, so you need to have that understanding of the stakeholders. And once you've done that, the next, and which is a very, very important thing, is start. So without you actually taking action, nothing is going to work. Okay, nothing is going to work. And the only thing that when we start improving is when we start acting, when we start doing things. And when we're practicing and when we start doing things, the chances are we might fail. Okay, but that's okay, because we are making a start. And once you start doing it, you'll be learning, okay? Learning from your successes, learning from your failures. And by the way, according to me, there's no such thing as failure, but lessons learned. So you learn from your achievement, you learn from your lessons learned, and then you are unstoppable from that journey to become a listening leader, okay? So that wraps me up as what I would like to talk about in today's webinar. And before we all go away, okay, I would like you to reflect on your key takeaways in terms of how to become a listening leader and trying to identify your steps in terms of, okay, if I want to get better at listening, if I want to become a great listening leader, what is it that I am going to do? Okay, obviously, it might take you longer to think about it, but please just don't just walk away saying that, okay, that's fine, I've listened to Ming's webinar and everything is good and I'm good, because by the way, as you work out from this webinar, probably 50% of the information is already gone, right? We have seen the data, we have seen the researches. So trying to identify some of the steps where we are here and saying that for you to become a listening leader, what are the next steps? And I'll give you a quick minute for that. And we'll be moving on to what is it that we can develop. Okay, if you do need more time, please take the time what you need, after the session, and you are encouraged to give a think about what is it that you can do to improve Okay, and this webinar serves the piece of awareness, yeah, in terms of what is it that we're doing well, what is it that we can improve, and how we can become this perfect listening leader.